thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm going to speak on my very favorite topic, and that is the accomplishments and the outstanding work of the men and women of the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office. I'm going to take it to the next. These are some of the photos of some of the events that we attend. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about what happened in the year 2025. The Sheriff's Office, as you all know, is very committed to the community. We've long since had a great tradition of having an outstanding relationship with our community. We have a saying in the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office that small things matter. And what that means is when I hire deputies, I tell them from time to time, I'm going to ask you, what did you do to make York County better today? It may not necessarily be a felony arrest or write someone a ticket or do something really brave. It may be some of the things that you see demonstrated here in these photographs, interacting with the community, building relationships with our kids, which I think are really important. And the top right one is where we, on a regular basis, visit some of the assisted living facilities just to engage in conversation with the people that stay there. Starting off with the uniform patrol, I'm going to go through some of the divisions. There are 4 patrol shifts currently. We have a traffic unit. I will say this, that through working with the Board of Supervisors here and your generosity of adding some additional people for 2 budget series in a row a couple of years ago, that was a major role in me being able to create a traffic unit, and I'll speak about the success of them and some of the things that they're doing now to make highway safety a little bit more efficient in York County. So thank you for the additional people. We have a K-9 unit, some of the specialty units are the emergency response team, a warrant service unit. We created an accident reconstruction team 3 years ago when the Virginia State Police came and asked us to take over all the accident investigations in York County. I didn't realize at the time what I was getting into the middle of, so we've been averaging somewhere between 800 and 950 accidents a year since we did that. But this accident reconstruction team is certified by the Commonwealth of Virginia and is necessary when we're working really serious accidents, particularly accident fatalities. And we now have the Animal Services Unit underneath the Sheriff's Office as well. So we're talking about the canines a minute ago. These are statistics from 2023. We currently have 5 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, 1 Belgian Malinois, 1 German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois that is a replacement for Sabre. As you all know, Sabre died tragically, and a Bloodhound. Since 2023, we've had 569 total deployments, both criminal and non-criminal. When I say non-criminal, what we're doing is we're looking for missing children, sometimes senior adults with dementia or Alzheimer's. So actually that's why we got the Bloodhound. That's specifically what Sarge is trained to do, is to find people. And the difference between Sarge and the others when he finds them is usually the others, if they find them, they're trained to find the bad guys. And the result would be not what we were looking for if they found them. Whereas with Sarge, basically you'll get licked to death if he finds you. So we had 441 total fines, which is a 77% success rate, which according to the supervisors tell me that that's well above the national average. And there were 229 total arrests, a 51% arrest rate of all those 441 fines. These are some of the interactions we do. They are a great community resource as well. I can tell you that when we go out into the community, as you can see in the bottom left, the kids flock to these dogs. I mean, a lot of people get a little concerned that when they see police dogs in action that they're, very aggressive animals. Well, when they're put to work, that's the case. But otherwise, they're just very well trained dogs that love the attention just like your pets. So they're great community relations and great ambassadors for the Sheriff's Office. This is a picture of the accident reconstruction team that I talked about. They've probably worked, unfortunately, at least 8 to 10 traffic fatalities in York County since they came on board, and there's been several cases where the work that they did was critical to prosecutions in our court system and convictions of people that were involved in accidents where other people were killed. All of the deputies carry AEDs in their vehicles and Narcan on their persons, and in 2025, Sheriff's Office deployed AEDs 5 times and Narcan 13. One of the things that's fairly unique to this area is our relationship with the York County Fire Department. For years, we both had obviously AEDs, but we had different brands and different models. AEDs. Automatic defibrillators, the ones that give you the shock. So 2 years ago, what we did when we had to replace them is we coordinated with the fire department and made certain that we now have the exact same AED that they carry, so that if they show up and they take over, they don't have to switch the AEDs. It can just be a continuous service to the patient, which obviously is much more efficient. The Investigations Division, that's the Major Crimes Division. When I say major crimes, burglaries, rape, robberies, murders, those types of things, that's the agency that handles those crimes. Narcotics investigations, sex crimes, we are a member of the Internet Crimes Against Children group, where we investigate those types of crimes. We have digital forensics within that division as well. We can take laptops, cell phones, and that type of, and get data off of them that helps in criminal prosecutions. And we have crime scene investigations. We have graduates, multiple graduates in the Investigations Division of the Virginia Forensic Science Academy, which certifies them as crime scene experts. The Community Services Division, which is the division that Lieutenant Charvel is part of, has several different facets. They oversee the DARE program. DARE is taught in all elementary and middle schools. They have the Crime Prevention Unit. As you can see, some of the numbers there of all the crime prevention events that we had during the course of the year. I can say with honesty, I don't know of a more robust crime or community services unit in Hampton Roads to put on the programs and the number of programs that we put on. There are 8 school resource officers, 4 in the middle school and 4 in the high school presently, and we are at all Yorktown waterfront events. These are some of the numbers from 2025. Just to give you an example of the programs that we've put on, CRAZE is probably one of the more popular programs that we put on now, which is Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events. We teach it to churches, we teach it to businesses. We've done it with the county and all of the county businesses so that they're all well aware of what to happen if, God forbid, we ever caught ourselves in an active shooter event. Gun safety courses, workplace violence, you can see all the lists of them up there. Twice a year we put on the Sheriff's Citizens Academy, which, because of being in a bigger facility now with our new building, we're averaging more people, more like 25 to 30. And then we've also started the Sheriff's Business Academy. We've had 2 of those where we reach out to the business community and go over topics that they're interested in, is how to make their businesses more secure, and working with us on some of the safety precautions that we believe they should have. We became the 13th community in the Commonwealth of Virginia to become a certified crime prevention community. This is a collaborative effort between the Sheriff's Office and the business community and the residents as well. We have some members here on the Board of Supervisors that sit on this. There was, Lieutenant Charvel was really instrumental in this. When we were certified 2 years ago, they made a comment that that was the most comprehensive package that they had ever received in all the time that they've been doing this. And after some work with the Virginia Department of Transportation and getting our permits, you will see the sign on the right-hand side of them. I think 4 of them have already been installed at various locations entering York County. The 5th one is underway as we speak, so we're going to be we are announcing we're proud of the fact that we are a certified crime prevention community. We are a state accredited agency. We have been for more than 20 years. The accreditation occurs every 4 years. There's over 200 policies and procedures that a team comes in and assesses us on. Our last 2 state accreditations, we had perfect scores of 100. Less than 3 of all of the 200 plus agencies in the Commonwealth of Virginia have ever received a perfect 100. The Administrative Services Division, that houses our rover team, which is the drone team, basically. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. There's some information on that I want you to understand. They work the mobile command bus, and they bring it to the scenes for us. They are part of our network IT people. They oversee our training division, the accreditation that I just talked about through the Commonwealth of Virginia. They oversee our shooting range operations, the property and evidence portion of our building. And we now have a state-certified critical incident stress management and peer support team. That's if we go out and the deputies see something awful that involves children or adults in tragic situations, and we give them the opportunity to sit down and meet with their peers and talk them through it, and hopefully be able to help relieve the stress of it. Going back to the Rover team, we're working on a project that I've talked to you in the past about. It's a collaborative effort with the fire department. Chief Baldwin and I have been very involved with this. We're getting close to being able to launch drones from the top of the sheriff's office and Station 4 in Yorktown from the fire department as first responders, so they could be there quickly on accidents, missing persons, that type of thing. But there's some other people and some other divisions within the county that have helped with this. County IT, Tim Wyatt's people have been instrumental in this, and Public Works as well, plus the school division for allowing us to use some of their buildings to place some of these cellular antennas that are critical for the flight operations of this to be involved in. So this is truly a countywide governmental project that's really going to reap big benefits when it becomes online, I'm hoping within about 60 days. Court security. That's the division at the courthouse that you see that greets you at the front door and runs the courtroom security and does our civil process as well. There's some statistics up there from 2025. There were 239 total court days in 2025. We're running double courts now in the circuit court because we have an additional circuit court judge, particularly when there are trials. General District Court is now sitting 3 days a week, and they're going to move to 5 days a week probably by the end of the summer. Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court already sits 5 days a week. And the Colonial Recovery Court is slated for mid-2026. That application has been recently submitted by Judge Rizig. That's a fancy word for what we would be calling the drug court in advance. So that's probably going to add some more court cases and more court days to their system up there. Civil process. Total papers that were received in 2025 are 19,364. You can see the numbers there on the types of papers. The jury summonses is really probably the number that we should pay attention to, because that's basically directly related to the number of jury trials that are occurring, and there were 1,064 of those summonses in 2024, and it jumped to 1,933 in 2025. That just shows you that the number of jury trials is increasing in the courthouse.
You said jump from was that what you said, 1,065?
1,065 to 1,065 in 2024, and it jumped to 1,933 in 2025. So 868 more jury summonses were served in 2025 than the previous year.
Was there a similar jump on the total number of papers?
The civil paper stayed fairly steady for 2025. There was not that, the biggest jump was in jury summons.
Jury. Okay.
All right, now we'll get into the crime statistics, and this is after I presented last year to you the dramatic drop from 2023. This is even further from 24 to 25. There was no change in robberies in 2025. We had 9 in 2024. We had 9 in 2025. But even that number is incredibly low compared to our surrounding localities. Larcenies from vehicles for 2025 were down an additional 54%. I would say this to the community: thank you, you're listening. We've been very aggressive with our don't leave your personal property in your vehicles and lock them up. In 2025, we had 63 larcenies from vehicles. That's the first time in my career that I can think of in the last 20 years that we've had less than 100 larcenies from vehicles. That's been our prominent property crime. So the community deserves kudos for that as well, because they're listening and they're taking their property out of their vehicles and locking them up. Motor vehicle theft is down 7.6%. Our total number of incidents was down 14.6% from the prior year. Total number of offenses down 15.6%, and the Group A crimes per 100,000, which are our major crimes, rape, robbery, burglaries, homicide, were down 14.6% from 2024 to 2025. Total arrest. I'm putting this up here to show you how efficient not only we are with preventing crime, but when it does occur, how quickly we take care of it. York County averages 18.27 arrests per 1,000 people. Another interesting statistic up there is the 1,334. That's total number of arrests. But over 900 of those were the Group A offenses, the major crimes. That's basically 76%. We are way higher than the entire state average and the national average in that. It shows you how quickly the investigations division and how efficiently they are in clearing these cases, which leads to lower numbers because we don't have people committing multiple crimes because we're catching them so quickly. And this compares us to some of the jurisdictions around us, just to show you some of the comparable sizes and even agencies that are much bigger than we are, how efficient we are at arresting people for offenses in York County.
So you said 77, what was that?
I'm sorry?
You said 77 in the front part of what you were just saying. I think there was a number, 77%?
76%?
76. What was that
76% of the total arrests up there, 1,334, over 900 of them, 76%, were for Group A offenses, which are the major crimes, which is a 76% arrest rate for Group A offenses, which is incredibly high. It's well over the national average.
Okay, thank you.
DUI arrests in York County were up 11%. This is a direct result of us being able to form this traffic unit with the additional people that you provided for us in 2 consecutive budgets. Traffic summonses were up 85%. We wrote basically 3,800 summonses in 2024. We wrote over 6,500 traffic summonses in 2025. Now, one of the things that I don't have up there is the number of traffic accidents. The number of traffic accidents in York County went down 152, which I believe is a direct correlation to the number of traffic summonses, because we've become much more proactive, and now the county is starting to recognize that, and people driving on our highways are starting to listen and slow down. I know it doesn't seem like that a lot of days, but the numbers to me show that when we write that many more summonses and we see 152 less traffic accidents in 1 year. Drug arrests are up 43%, not because there's more drug activity in the county. It's because over the last 2 years we have become much more proactive with it and much more aggressive as far as locating these people and arresting them for selling illegal drugs and narcotics in York County. Larcenies from vehicles, as I told you, was down last year, but this is the first quarter of this year compared to the first quarter of last year, and I'm happy to report to you that we're even further down. We're down 44% from the first quarter last year in larcenies from vehicles. Burglaries are down 72% the first quarter of this year. Weapons law violations are down 54%. Motor vehicle theft was basically the same, and shoplifting is down another 14%. Shoplifting is another one of the cases that has a direct correlation with the increase in the number of people that you've provided, because we're able to use data-driven information right now to be at places like Walmart, where the statistics show us that on these days of the week and these hours of the day, it's more likely that someone is committing a shoplifting based on the information. So the deputies now have the ability to be there on those days of the week and hours of the day to simply either be in the parking lot or get out and walk through the store. Their presence alone, we believe, directly correlates to the 14% decrease in shoplifting. Our clearance rate, as you see, that has improved dramatically over the last 3 years, and the national average is about 25%, and you can see that we're well over double that.
What is the clearance rate?
The clearance rate is 58.6%. That's based on cases cleared by arrest, or prosecution was declined, or the victim refused to cooperate. But it means we've identified who did it, but you saw in the arrest numbers how high that is. But if our clearance rate is 58.6%, the national average is about 25%. Calls for service. Dispatch, deputy initiated, and keep checks. I want to talk about keep checks for a minute. I talked to you the last time I was in front of you how important keep checks are. Those are the things that I was just talking about, that a deputy can get out of the car and walk through the store, or they can be in a neighborhood at nighttime that's having larcenies from vehicles. That frees them up to be in these places and be present and be a visible deterrent to crime. They jumped up dramatically, well, about 1,000 from 24 to 25, and that's because, again, of the additional people that we have out on the street. So we had 20,806 keep checks of that total number you see up there in 2024. 20,000 of them were keep checks. In 25, that went to 21,796, so well over, right at 1,000 additional keep checks, which to me are key to crime prevention, being in the right place at the right time and being visible. Overall, our calls for service increased by 11.76%. School zone. We've talked about this in the past, 94% reduction in violations from when we originally initiated this program. It was launched in September of 2024. We issued 5,349 school zone violation citations in 2025. In July of last year, we switched vendors. It took us longer than we anticipated to have them fully operational, but February the 2nd of this year, all 6 schools went back online, and at this point in time, we've issued 1,424 violations from February the 2nd till April the 17th of this year in the school zones. So all the systems are back up and in place now. Finally, one of the things I wanted to talk to you was about grants, the way that we try to reduce the burden on the taxpayers with some of the larger ticket items that we've purchased. We have a HEAT grant, which is for vehicle theft, Operation Ceasefire. We received $100,000. That was for an internet crimes against children workstation, Burla, and TruNarc. TruNarc is a device that we have now. If you read these stories that dealing with fentanyl and some of these other drugs, law enforcement has to be careful when you open these bags that you don't inhale it and subject yourself to some of the problems. So this is a device that you simply, is almost pistol-like. You point it at the bag, it sends a series of light and colored lights through the bag, and it analyzes the drug while it's still inside the plastic bag while it's sealed, and lets us know what kind of drug that we're dealing with. Burla, and as you see further down, Bosch, are two pieces of equipment that we bought for the traffic reconstruction team and for the investigations division. Your vehicle has essentially the same black box in it that an airplane has. So when we have these motor vehicle crashes, particularly the ones that involve fatalities, the deputies or the investigators that are trained with this have the ability to retrieve that data from these vehicles, and that's been critical in a lot of the prosecutions and the evidence that we can provide to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to show how fast that they were driving at the time of impact, how many times they hit the brakes, all of these things. All of that data is available and can be used as evidence in court. The Port Security Grant is the one that you approved last year. We bought the Marine Patrol boat. That's been ordered, and it's going to be a while before it's delivered, but we're hoping by this time next year we'll have a Marine Patrol out there. And again, the JAG grant was for the Bosch and for the technical package for the accident reconstruction team. So I've gone through all of this to tell you that I believe with all my heart that the businesses and the citizens in York County live in the safest environment in Hampton Roads, arguably in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So the men and women of the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office would say if you're coming to York County and you want to enjoy the beaches and the businesses and the restaurants, love to have you. If you're coming here to commit a crime, not in York County. Thank you for your opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm willing to answer any questions if you have any.
I'm sure we do. I'll start with Mrs. Knoll.
Sheriff, I think another way of saying it is thank you very much. Your money is being well spent. You're
Yes,
doing
it
an
is.
excellent job. Thank you.
Mr. Shepard?
I really just, I want, not just to you, but to the officers that are in here, I am just extremely proud of York County, and it's a lot to do with your performance. I've been into a lot of communities in the United States in my career, and I've seen communities where law enforcement basically wasn't trusted. They were feared. Here, you're embraced. You guys are everything you do individually. Like you said, it's the little details, but everything you do is so important to the citizens. And just to know that you guys are around, taking care of us, keeping us safe. I mean, I just go back to the issue of what is our. I was going to ask you what is our major crime, and I know what it is. It's traffic violations. When you have a community where your worst crime, or not the worst crime, but the most serious crimes consistently are traffic violations, I mean, you actually do. You're living in a pretty safe place. We don't have a lot of the violence, the hardcore violence. We just don't see it here, and it's because of you guys. I know with citizens, we're all playing together with this, but you guys are just awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Drury?
Well, I kind of echo Tom Shepard. I'm proud to call York County home for lots of reasons, but your department and the people that work for you are amazing. I've not met one person that I didn't have a huge amount of respect for, and these gentlemen that are here every week with us, and all those that I see on the street and see at the beach and see on a restaurant or something like that. You've always been courteous and kind, and I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. So you have every bit of support that you can get from me, and I think you guys have done a fantastic job. And I'm like, Tom, I don't go anywhere in York County I don't feel safe, nowhere.
Good, thank you.
And seeing these numbers dropping like this, I believe we're probably one of the safest places in the state of Virginia, to be sure. So hats off to you guys. I'm proud of you. Keep up the great work that you're doing. Thank you.
Great presentation, a lot of fantastic information here. I really appreciate your departments and everybody that serves in that department's commitment to our number one strategic priority, which is exemplary public safety. You know, I've had the opportunity over the years to work with a number of your personnel, deputies and so forth, on the Crime Prevention Council and the CAC. And I got to know a lot of those folks personally, and this is a high-quality group of individuals. It's fantastic to know that they're in our department working and serving the people of York County. If you haven't had a chance to meet any of the deputies there, when you see them out on the street, you see them out and about, stop and talk to them, and you'll see the same quality that I see as well. And there's a lot of fantastic stuff to cover in here, but I'll just take a moment to highlight how impressed I am with the K-9 unit, because I know how effective they are. You know, I got a soft part in my heart for dogs to begin with, but seeing how effective they are, what a force multiplier they are, you know, they really punch above their weight, and how effective they are in the county. I applaud your efforts to get that up and running and get it as successful as it is. So keep at it. Thank you.
They're definitely my most popular deputies.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I've been slobbered on by Sarge, and I had to fight my way to the front because of all the kids who were trying to get ahead of me.
That's right.
It was a great show. I had two questions, though. Great presentation. I love the school zone numbers, 94% reduction. What are we doing in the zones around schools that don't have the cameras? Are we measuring? Are we checking? Are we issuing violations or citations? Are we ensuring that the same performance is being met at those schools?
Yes, the traffic unit is out every day and going into different areas. I'll give you an example. We were involved with a program last week up on Pocahontas Trail. We've been receiving a lot of complaints up there about speeding and reckless driving. So we partnered with James City County Police Department and the Virginia State Police and hit that area and Merrimack Trail in York County very hard. We, the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office, issued almost 300 traffic violations up there. We intend to do some of those operations in some of the more some of the areas that we receive the most complaints on in the not too distant future. But I will tell you that one of the technologies that we use is called Urban SDK. And what it does is it tracks the data for the entire county. It's 13 months worth of data, so that when someone calls in and says, I have a speeding problem, and I believe I've even used this with some of the board members while they were on the phone, I have the ability to bring this up, and the traffic division does as well, and go right to that street and have 13 months worth of data that says, here's the 85th percentile speed, the 50th percentile speed, hours of the day, days of the week, so we can address it right away. And we also have it programmed that every Monday morning, the lieutenant of the traffic division who's in the back, Damon Radcliffe, he gets a report every Monday morning about 4 o'clock in the morning that tells him every street in York County that the posted speed violated more than 11 miles per hour for that week. So now we don't have to necessarily wait for the community to say, hey, I think I have a speeding problem on my street. This program every Monday gives him the ability to say, hey, these streets right here are starting to have speeding issues, already 11 miles an hour per hour, let's go address it now. So I think that that's the reason why you're seeing the number of summonses go up and the number of traffic accidents go down, because we're being much more proactive in the areas that you're talking about.
And you get to validate it too, with your cameras and stuff.
Yes.
So my second question is, page 8 on the crime statistics, great progress. You're down on every single category. You're not helping us with our discussion on court expansion. So let's come back to that.
I'm probably part of your problem, because we're arresting people and putting them into the court system.
I'd like to come back to that. Judge Rizek has spent a lot of time in front of this board convincing us that we need to be looking at an expansion or a replacement of the current courthouse. How do you see it? What's your reaction? When you see these results of the crime statistics, it kind of points the wrong way. It says you're having fewer and fewer cases brought before the judge, but I know that not to be true.
Well, the advantage of being around for a minute is I've seen the progress of this, and I can tell you that the courthouse is extremely cramped right now. When we have traffic court days there now, there are people out in the hallways waiting. I mean, it's long days. There's not enough courtrooms in there right now to satisfy all of those court days you're talking about are based on 365 days in a year, and you subtract holidays. And 10 years ago, we would have days where there may be one court running or two court running. They're all being utilized at this point in time right now, and we're getting ready to add this much needed drug court. So I would say that based on everything that I've seen in the last 5, this new courthouse or a new courthouse is much needed to handle what's coming down the road. We, as efficient as we are right now, and we're not going to stop that, we're arresting more people, we're writing more traffic summonses, we're making York County as safe as we can possibly make it. And you have to remember, not only is it the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office doing it, but Poquoson and the Virginia State Police are also contributing to those numbers as well. So right now, when we speak to the clerk of the court, York County wrote more traffic tickets last year than the city of Newport News. And then you start to add the Virginia State Police and what they're doing on the interstates. We work more accidents right now because of us taking them over than York County, but those cases all have to be heard in court as well when they become traffic violations. So criminal court in York County is exploding right now with the number of people that we're seeing in there. Jury trials are becoming much more prevalent. I think the Commonwealth Attorney would agree with that, which means longer days where that courtroom is tied up for one specific case, which means now you've got to find someplace else for these other cases to be heard, which are civil cases as well. So I would agree with Judge Rizek that this needs to be addressed, and it is becoming an issue.
Thank you, Sheriff. That's